Welcome to BizTech's CEO Conversation Show. Today we feature CIMB Bank Philippines, which is an all-digital, mobile-first and multi-award-winning bank that has been able to sign over 4 million customers since their first year of operations. We speak to CIMB Bank Philippines CEO Vijay Manoharan to tell us how they did it and also how they plan to compete with other fintech players who are looking to challenge incumbents as well as challenges like CIMB Bank. Welcome to the show, Vijay.
Thank you, Brian. I'm glad to be here.
Now, Vijay, can we start by giving us an overview of what CIMB Philippines does and also the history behind your setup?
Sure, Brian. So we've been here now for 2.5 years. As you indicated earlier, we are an all-digital bank. So we mainly talk to our customers through our mobile-first platform. What we do here is we offer very unique sets of products and for targeted segments. And we also work with partners. So digital is our enabler, but we strongly believe in availing our products and services through our partners. So you can think of us as a platform-enabled digital bank. I guess that's how I will recap our position here.
Okay, and give us an idea of what sort of product offerings you have.
So we have the basic savings accounts, high-yield savings accounts. We have our personal loans and also revolving credit products, plus a debit card product as well that we have. And we also offer insurance to our customers. Underline this point that all of these products are all offered end-to-end digitally on our mobile app and also through our partner channels.
Give us an idea of some of the partners that you work with in the Philippines.
So one of our key partners, Brian, is GCash, and GCash is the largest digital wallet here in the country, in the Philippines. So we have a very successful and unique partnership with GCash, where we enable our GCash customers to also sign up with our products on the GCash platform. So that partnership has really sort of been a breakthrough partnership, and I think it's given the right sort of momentum for us to take our business even to the next level.
See, it's very obvious to see that that would have been an absolute accelerant in terms of your growth. But what's in it for GCash in terms of the partnership with you?
So we started off, Brian, where both GCash and CIMB came together to say, how can we co-create something together which will be more meaningful and impactful for the end consumer. So we took the lens of what are we going to produce together that will solve something and address a pain point for the Filipino consumer. So I guess that's the prize. The prize is us co-creating a joint product, solving a pain point that the consumers are looking for, making it easy and enabling a banking relationship very conveniently and very seamlessly. And through that, we believe we'll get a more long-term and sticky relationship for us and also for GCash.
What sort of customer segments do you focus on, Vijay?
So we like to think of ourselves as we serve everyone. We don't specifically talk to a particular segment. So if you look at our customer demographics, we have a wide range of customers, anywhere from 21, 22 years old, all the way to upper to mid 50s. So we like to think of ourselves as we appeal to across the segments, and we try to make our banking products and services quite universally appealing to across the segments here in the Philippines.
So there's no specific strategy to target the unbanked and underbanked in the Philippines, which is a significant part of the population.
So you see, Brian, by making your products easy to sign up, by availing your products digitally, by making the banking experience 5 minutes, by removing all the frictions. And what are those frictions? Fees, maintaining minimum balance, multiple forms of IDs, going to a branch to open an account. If you remove all those frictions, by default, that's already addressing the underserved and the unbanked. So by making the experience becoming so seamless, it helps the banked and it also helps the unbanked to open and have a relationship with us.
And so, Vijay, so this is, if we take a step back, these were then the primary reasons for not taking the traditional route or a hybrid route, but going straight for the digital bank execution strategy.
Right, because from all the data studies that we have done, a Filipino consumer, it's actually, there are quite two things about the Filipino consumer. One is they're digitally savvy, and Filipinos are known to be very active on social media. So they are connected on their phones all the time. They're one of the heaviest social media users globally. Second, they're also very open to trying new technologies. So between one being very socially active on social media, second also being very open to trying new technologies out there, we figured I think this will be one of the ways to enter and talk to them in a different way. And plus, if you look at all the inconveniences of traditional banking, and in this country, to actually go to a physical branch, it's almost like a huge effort or task. So we said if we can simplify people's lives, if we can have someone open a bank account in the comfort of their own home, sitting on their couch, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, then how different and how much impact we can give back to a consumer in terms of making their lives more easier.
Now, Vijay, then, so you had the advantage of starting with a white sheet of paper in the Philippines. You defined an execution strategy, you defined the partnership. Explain to us the technology stack that is behind this challenger bank.
Sure. So Brian, I always see as technology as the enabler. First, you figure out where you want to go, what is the ends that you want to arrive to, and then you figure out what you need to make it happen. So the technology stack we have, it's a bit of a hybrid of what we have and also what we have acquired. It's an all-native cloud application. So the stack that we have, it helps us to be nimble, to be fast. We have this ability to add stuff, if you will, quickly and have a very responsive speed to market, ability to scale. So something that really fits to what we need in terms of being agile, being scale supportive. So we can support the scale that we currently have. So those are the kind of features that the stack that we have today.
So Vijay, in other words, what you're saying is this is not anything, and you work for a legacy bank. It's a regional bank, but it's a legacy bank. This platform, therefore, is all new and it's separate from the legacy product.
Right. So we took a view that we want to start from scratch and have everything sort of bespoke, just for what we want to do here in the Philippines. So making sure that what we have is going to solve what we actually need for the country. So it was very customized to local needs in the Philippines.
Okay. Now, one of the key challenges with a country like the Philippines is execution, because it's diverse and it's geographically spread out in terms of population. How do you, what could you walk us through some of the challenges that you had, particularly doing eKYC or know your customer checks?
Yeah, sure. Since you brought up eKYC, so unlike example Malaysia, Singapore, where there is a standard government ID issued to almost all citizens. In the Philippines, we don't have that. So in the Philippines, there's up to maybe 15 or even more national IDs which are acceptable. So everyone may have a different form factor of IDs, and that's kind of challenges that we face in a country like Philippines. So we had to work our best to manage given that those conditions. We obviously also took on and made sure our technology stack was able to support those challenges that we have. And I think we've been able to address that. Other than that, of course, in some pockets of the country where connectivity may not be as good, and that's why also working with a partner like GCash, it also helps us reach out to just beyond the metro areas, because GCash is it's widespread across the country. So our strategy to reach out to beyond just the main city centers is through a partner, and with a partner, you're able to connect to a larger population.
Now, I want to look at competition here. And in the Philippines, the competition is hotting up with the likes of CIMB Bank from South Africa and their local partnership with JG Summit. which basically has a click and mortar type execution strategy where they will do KYC at kiosks. How are you going to defend your turf against these newcomers as well as other fintech newcomers?
So Brian, the view that I have is you keep your eyes on the customer. So I think as long as we keep our strategy in place and we keep our eyes to ensuring that we solve what the customer truly wants, then truly I think that's all that matters. And really at this stage of the journey of digitization in the Philippines, having more players coming to the market, I believe it'll be a benefit to all of us as a whole, because then the market will be also educated in terms of now, hey, digital banking is not so strange or is not out there. It's becoming more and more of a norm. So I think with more players coming to the market, will be less seen as an offshoot or just an anomaly, if you will. But with more players coming, people will then see this is the new way of how banking will be done. And I think collectively we'll all gain from it.
Vijay, what's the strategy for CIMB moving forward in the Philippines?
So we are going to stick to our platform banking strategy. We have seen it working very well for us the past 2 years. We've acquired 4 million customers in a very short period of time. All our indicators are being met very nicely. So we see the strategy working and we're not changing. We want to double down on it. We want to keep doing more of it. We want to take one success and start replicating it to other areas.
Now, as you correctly pointed out, you've been very successful acquiring 4 million customers in a very short period of time. I'm sure that you've probably exceeded the CIMB's expectations in terms of numbers. What lessons that you've learned in the Philippines that could perhaps be cascaded and implemented throughout the group?
Well, I think it's working with partners and how you're able to create unique relationships with partners where both the bank and the partner jointly wins together. So I think the one sort of I guess learning for me and the lesson that I take away, if you're able to find a good partner and create something special with them, then I think that's the secret recipe, if you will.
Next question is pretty much similar, but more Filipino market specific. The Philippines has been growing, of course, very badly affected by COVID. But in the last couple of years prior to the pandemic, the Philippines was growing at a very nice clip within the ASEAN space. What lessons would you give to foreigners who are looking to enter the Filipino market or invest in the Philippines?
It's a good question. I think Filipinos are very emotional, and you must talk to their emotions. I think more than talking to their minds, I think you got to talk to their heart, and you have to appeal to their heart, and you have to be able to get the trust factor and get them on your side. So one thing that we learned a lot is how do you build that trust? How do you build that emotional connection so that people will stand by you? And that's something which I think helped us to sort of take the learning forward.
Now, the Philippines is also very notoriously difficult to navigate politically, as well as from a bureaucratic standpoint. How did you manage to navigate that, and what lessons would you give to others?
Actually, for us, Brian, our central bank, BSP, has been very supportive. So I think we had a very strong support from regulators. So in terms of us coming to the country, us setting up our operations here, us getting to do this complete new way of banking. So when we first came, nobody was doing this. You mentioned Time and some of the names that are coming on to the Philippines 2 years after. But going back 2 years ago, all the stuff of eKYC, doing complete all digital account opening, these are all new processes, new ways of banking. And we were only able to do this with the complete support of the regulators. So we were quite lucky in the sense we had strong regulatory support.
Okay, did you have pushback? Because again, with the powers that be locally, Did you have pushback from the local incumbents?
I don't think so. I think everyone plays in their own field, and I think, as I said, we had good support, and we just did our own thing, and we went straight ahead with our plans, communicated our strategy, show the value we'll bring to the country. Number of Filipinos will be able to access banking and make banking much more simpler to everyday Filipinos. At the same time, giving back a tremendous amount of value. So the kind of interest rates that we pay on savings and deposits, it's 10, 20 times more than what the other banks pay. So when you really bring value, when you're addressing something tangibly, then I think you'll get support from the right people.
Now, Vijay, throughout your career, obviously you've learned a lot of lessons besides the Philippines itself. What are 3 key business lessons that you could share with other business leaders and entrepreneurs that have helped you in your journey or have helped you navigate?
That's a good question. So to me, I think especially bringing my own most recent Philippines experience, Brian, I think the first thing is really keep the eye on the price. And the price is the consumer. And it's often said, but it's not often done well enough. Even in my past experiences also, probably there were some hits and misses, but this time we said, let's really focus on the consumer and just really provide real value to the everyday Filipino. And don't take your eyes away from that. So I think we stuck with that, and sometimes it's tempting to deviate from it after 6 months, after 12 months, but we kept always checking on ourselves and said, keep the eyes from the consumer. Even if it's going to hurt you somewhere else, but stay the course. That's the first thing. I guess the second thing is communicate a mission, especially in a greenfield startup slash doing a breakthrough kind of a business model. You have to communicate a mission. The mission's got to be something broader than just doing business. It's got to be something which people sign up with you and believe in the mission. And the third thing I would say is, again, in the startup world, whatever you have done when you have started, 6 months after is almost become obsolete. So what I mean by that, Brian, is the need to continuously reinvent what you have done and reinvent quickly. Because if you don't do that, then you'll probably be taken out. So that's the 3 things, I guess, that comes to my mind.
Vijay, thank you very much for taking your time to be on the show.
You're welcome, Brian. Pleasure to be here.
I'm Brian Fernandez, and I've been speaking to CIMB Bank Philippines Chief Executive Officer Vijay Manoharan on BizTech CEO Conversation Show. Check out www.biztech.asia for business and technology conversations. This video will be on our Facebook and LinkedIn sites, as well as our website. So please subscribe and like our various platforms. Thank you very much for tuning in.